tuyene façon ye moyene façon singilu tombok tuyene façon ye gode min senu be kase lala badenya duwe tombok tuwe singia duwe mali.
Okay, welcome to A New Awakening. Today we're going to be dealing with a message from our ancestors. I have Brother Ghetto Sage with me. We're going to be discussing the psychological problems that our people face today due to what we call European world domination, colonialism, and so forth. We're going to be dealing with it from the Quran. I'm going to use some of the words in which the Quran explains that deals with our psyche, our understanding. It's 3 words that my brother often uses. So I'm going to give him a chance to expound upon these words. So I have the Brother Ghetto Sage. Welcome to the show today, brother. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Me and you know, we turn many comments on different, aspects and dealing with, Quranic words, breaking them down, understanding the grammar, trying to get brothers to get away from the Euro-Asian Arab concept of understanding the Quran. What we want to do is try to, invite brothers to some of the things that we've learned from, our master teachers. We want to try to bring some of the energy of our ancestors to play as well. So, this is your opportunity, brother, to kind of start us out with the 3 words that we're going to be dealing with in the Quran, the Sada, the Qab, and the Fuad. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to explain those 3 words and, kind of just give us an outline. And then we'll kind of just go back and forth on different verses in the Quran, giving a short tafsir and explaining those words. So you want to start, you can start with either one you want to start with.
First of all, thank you for having me. My name is Minister Mike. I'm an ordained minister, aka Ghetto Sage. That was a name some young intelligent brothers gave me back in the 90s when I was kind of like caught up in the system before I came into somewhat of a conscious awareness. I've been a student of the Arabic language of the Quran since the middle 90s. One of the things about me is I came into this conscious awareness with the understanding of if God or Allah was saying something to me in the scripture, I needed to find out exactly what he was saying myself.
Yeah.
So I got the tools, which were European in nature, as far as the grammar book and as far as the dictionary, and I kind of like hammered away till I got somewhat of an understanding.
Yeah.
Currently, my understanding is that we as black people, we as African, melanated people, we known by many names. At some point, I assume we come to an agreement on something. Often look, when it comes to that scripture, we often look through it through the lenses of European Arabs. We don't look at it through an African lens, from an African perspective, using African concepts and ideals. And I think that's what hurt most of our young brothers and sisters today. So what we've been trying to do here for the last 20-25 years is trying to not only understand the scripture as it relates to us from a physical, spiritual, and a divine perspective, but also point out certain words as an entry point towards foundating ourselves.
Right.
And this information we pass on to our future generations, where they won't get caught up in the wheel of deception, misinformation, miseducation, so on and so forth, that those previous generations, me included, to a certain degree, got caught up in.
Myself.
So, what we're saying today, and the topic today is, we're trying to understand pretty much 3 basic words, and this is a tribute to our ancestors. And one of the words in Arabic is called sadr. It's dealing with the mind. It's basically, just from a foundational perspective, it's dealing with the storage of information, that impressions that come in whatever form they come in, and it's used sort of like a storage to store the information. The other word is what we consider the qalb. And as many translators, they are translated as heart. Most of the time it's going to be translated as heart. But that's not an accurate understanding of this word and its function. The word qalb is actually dealing with, is really your seat of understanding, you know, for its deductive, inductive reasoning, you know, rationale, logics. A word meaning of the word would be to turn upside down, inside out, to transform, to change.
Yeah.
So and that's, to me, is one of the most, of all 3 is the most important, because that's what gives us access to a higher conscious awareness of what we consider our divine essence, our divine connection, or relationship. And then the other word is fuad in Arabic, which they are translate that word as heart also. But we're talking about, when we mention this fuad, we're talking about somewhere along the lines of how we feel. And it's kind of like tied in with the emotions.
Right.
From a natural perspective, how we feel about something, how we process information, and then how we feel about it is how we'll express it. And I give you a quick example, like in the story of the mother of Moses, and I think 28, Surah 28 and 10, where it uses both words, qalb, and it uses the word fuad. But if you're not familiar with those words, then you'll translate them the way most translators translate those words, as heart. But you're not getting the full impactful meaning of what's going on in that situation at the time. So those are 3 words that's very important to understand, along with a few more, but we'll just start right there as an entry point with those 3.